I think we're waiting on 1 or 2 board members yet. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It appears that we're missing Jim at this point, Mary.
That's what I thought. Okay, we'll give him another minute or
I'll
so.
send him a quick message as well.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning, Terry.
How are you?
Doing well. Hope everyone had a good weekend.
Yesterday was beautiful.
Yes, it was.
Really? Oh. Okay. Fair enough.
My daughter's like,
Yeah, some people have.
Fair enough.
it's a good feeling after a long winter.
I don't get, I just get dark.
It's usually the first one that gets me and after that. Well, especially when you don't have as much hair as you used to. Yeah.
Your scalp gets it. Oh. At least it was nice. It's supposed to rain today. So
It's supposed to snow on Wednesday.
oh, great. Serious. I haven't looked at long-term weather. So what? Yeah.
I needed something.
Right. Right.
Well, we gotta dig into it.
Nice.
Circulation. Circulation. I remember as a kid, they did a decline school, they shut the school down, because they didn't want kids in the general public come in. But then they moved to the church.
Jim is having difficulty signing on, Mary. He's just going to be a moment.
Okay. We'll give him another minute or 2.
Thank you.
Yes. Guess we can do that when we got it.
That morning, man.
How
are you?
Fine. I'm usually just about finishing up.
No,
Coffee.
I was gonna say, I haven't had a cup yet.
Oh, man. That's a rough start to Monday.
Good morning, Tom. Good to see you.
Do we have any word from Councilwoman Garcia? Chairman Shank, you, by chance?
Nicole said something about he was having difficulty getting on.
Yes, he is. He's trying. He's having some issue. It's not allowing him to sign in. I resent him the information, so hopefully he can just use that.
Thank you.
What's that?
Wings.
Size?
The first one, right?
At least, yeah, about 2. So there's 350 here, yeah, another about 5. You know, better. Let's get her out. Girl, is like, yeah, so fine.
And it was from.
What's up, Philly guy?
Where you moving? My goodness, they got all the Top Guns out
Morning,
today. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I know, I should be playing Top Gun theme when you guys come in.
Is it?
I said, we got all the big Top Guns here today.
Lock the doors, hit the buttons.
I just hear Kenny Loggins running around in my head. What? I just hear the song Kenny Loggins.
Oh, yeah.
Top Gun.
Top,
So Lou, we're just waiting on Councilman Winarski. He's having some technical difficulties.
just trying to get a.
I thought I know we had some more people around about some popcorn. Watch the movie.
What's a coffee?
Yeah.
Or
you know, watch a
maybe-
big movie. Got the
Yeah,
big screen.
cocktails.
Yeah, that's 8 o'clock, but I don't know about
We
you
don't.
guys.
No, you put a little anisette in your coffee.
Oh,
Right,
right.
LaRue anisette.
Yeah.
Just a little, or espresso
Anisette.
coffee.
Let's cross it, yeah, Yeah, they're like 8 o'clock for cocktails. I literally just had coffee. I don't know if this is an Italian inn or not.
Yeah, it is. Anisette tastes
How
like.
you doing, Tanya?
I'm well, how are you?
Except the liquor.
Is it liquid?
Anise,
Anisette. It's anise.
I know, it is the. more
It's
that
like
liquor,
Russo
like
and Creek.
Russo.
Yeah, yeah, but anisette, the LaRue anisette is made in
Do
Italy.
you ever have these stuff?
No.
That's,
Councilman Winarski on the phone. He's gonna call in. He's can't connect for some reason, so.
I grew up on
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
it. I mean, grandparents.
yeah. I see. That's cool. Mr. Selman.
Is that Polish?
Remember,
Yeah. It's too early in the morning. It's Monday morning.
No, it's not.
Quarter after eight.
Is there a difference anymore?
Mine doesn't function.
It's a sad part.
The guy's supposed to be leaving, I know my cell phone,
What's that?
from Wexford. Yeah, my car.
Oh,
So I gotta be out of here
so what
by
is it you
10
have?
to 9.
What one do you have?
The GE,
And you're getting,
yeah, 22 GE.
find out that's like. You're getting a new.
No. It's just the maintenance. They come, they give you a car, they bring it back.
Spoil.
That's what happens when you buy those fancy cars.
Yeah, but
You
it's.
can't take it, you can't take it to, Jane Repair around the corner.
Oh, no,
Well, you drive a Beamer, what are you talking about?
it's just bad.
Okay, I think we have him.
Okay, I see that. We'll just confirm that and then we'll be ready to go.
Good morning, I'm on.
Good morning,
Jim.
Jim.
Thank you, Councilman.
Sorry about that. It wouldn't let me on the other way, but
It's all good.
All right,
Okay.
Madam Chairman, we're ready.
All right, thank you. Good morning, I'm Mary Rennie, the chairman of the Board of Elections, and I am calling this meeting of the
There's an
Board of
inspector.
Elections. Sorry, this special meeting of the Board of Elections of April
There's
25th,
an
2022 to order at 8:13 a.m. is what I have. Ms. Slomsky, will you conduct the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Bale,
here,
Mrs. Showerman,
Here,
Mr. Scatella,
Here,
Mr. Shank,
Here,
Mr. Winarski,
here.
and Chairwoman Rennie.
Here,
And Madam Chairwoman, I just want to note that again, Councilman Horton is going to abstain as he is a committee man for the Democratic Party on the ballot for his ward. So just wanted to note that as well.
thank you. And I acknowledge that. All right, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the hearing of the public. To my knowledge, we have no one signed up. However, I see we have a number of people on the call, and to my understanding, in council caucus room as well. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard?
Agenda topics, which is-
Anyone from the public who wishes to be heard?
anything on the Board of Elections?
And any topic or just specifically the agenda topics of the meeting?
If there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, it does not, there are no restrictions on what you're covering.
I do.
Oh, go ahead. Did you want to speak? Yeah. Okay, feel free.
Oh,
You can stand up and, you know,
Or you can sit down.
sit down, whatever, just state your name and municipality.
Okay, and then what, just?
Yeah, then feel free, yeah, you can.
What I wanna say?
Yeah, whatever you wanna
Okay,
say,
I've
yes,
I've
ma'am.
never done this.
Oh, you're
before.
fine, you're
I'm a
fine, no worries.
rookie. Hi, I'm Kathleen Higgins. I'm working with Greg Hayes' campaign, and I guess one of the things that I have discovered is that I asked Michelle Privet from the, I forget her title, my brain is dead, but what I wanted to say was that the list, incomplete list of Republicans listed, given to us is only 16,000 out of these, 64,000 people in the 4th district. So there's quite a bit of a discrepancy there on where are all these voters? If we're plus 15 at 65, so where are all the voters at? Are there only 16,000 registered Republicans on that list? That's my question. That's all I got. Is that
We
enough?
could follow up. Are you talking about a super voter list? Or something that you got from the elections office?
Something I got from the elections office.
Okay, we can go over that after the meeting. I can make sure that you get the full list.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Just making sure we understand what list you're referring to, so we'll be happy to review that.
Registered voters. Yeah.
Okay.
Why was there?
I'll look into that.
All right.
4:30?
Thank you for following up on that. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard?
Thanks, Mike.
Anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard? And finally, anyone from the public who wishes to be heard? Seeing and hearing none, I will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is action for consideration. I do want to preface this by saying that we do need to amend the resolution. Hold on one second. I have the revised one. Repeal of resolution number 4 of 2022 and certification of a new ballot for the 2022 general primary election. And the reason for this, as I'm sure you know, is that we did receive a mailing from an email from the Department of State for the candidate listing post ballot. And we were under the impression that it was the official one, and on the sample ballot, District 4 was listed in the incorrect order. So that has been corrected. Thank you for putting that on the screen. That has been corrected, and in front of you, you should see the resolution which repeals number 4 and the certification of the new ballot for the 2022 general primary election. I think at this time, before we entertain discussion by the board or a motion on that, I would like to see if Ms. Slomsky or Ms. Fernandez, Ms. Inon would want to comment at all. You're certainly not required to, it's not needed, but if you had anything that you wanted to say at this time, you are certainly welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. One thing I want to do is just review the listing of the candidates. I know that Councilman Shank and Councilman Bale did have this on their ballot to review, but I want to make sure we have it correctly, as we have majority of the candidates here either in person or on the call with us. So again, the representative in the General Assembly, District 4, we have Jason Mon, Jennifer Lesher, Joe Cancilla, Jake Banta, Greg Hayes, and John D. Diamond, in that order. And I want to make sure we have that correctly listed with everyone here. And again, I want to thank Mr. Mon for bringing this to our attention and allowing us the time to review this, to make sure that we have everything set in place, working with the Department of State working with Dominion and to make sure everything has been adjusted. And at this point in time, we are ready to move forward. And we, of course, will have our logic and accuracy testing this week as well to make sure everything is intact with the machines. Tanya, am I missing anything?
No, Tanya Fernandez, and I just wanted to go on record saying that I feel this oversight was a direct result of the late petition filing period for the legislative candidates. We were given a post-ballot lottery list, which had the candidates in the order that we put them on the ballot. And then we were given another list at a later date, and our office failed to recognize that discrepancy. So I apologize on behalf of our office.
All right, thank you for your comments. Frankly, I don't think an apology is necessary. I do think that events from this time frame, I think anyone would be hard pressed to say that everything was perfect given the circumstances from the state and so forth. But I do agree with you as to the circumstances. Is there anyone from the Board of Elections, before we take any action, is there anyone from the Board of Elections who has questions or comments at this time?
I do, Chairwoman Renee Shank.
Yes.
My question is basically to all of us and of course our solicitor. Because of this kind of very expensive boo-boo, is there any recourse we have to recoup the money back from the state, since they apparently were the root of this problem? I mean, looking over the numbers, I mean, this is a $50,000 little oopsie, and I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers of Erie County to get stuck with the bill. So again, my question is to our solicitor, Tallarico. I yield back and thank you.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair?
Yes, Mr. Tallarico, thank you.
Yes, there are, legally speaking, I can't think of any. However, the printing company is tied into Dominion, so that they print according to how Dominion sets the, electronically sets everything. I think that a price to redo the ballot and to mail things out should be negotiated between the Board of Elections and Gore's Printing. Additionally, the state may be approached as well. They may or may not feel, they may feel that they would contribute as well, but there is no legal obligation on their part to do that. Dominion is already bending over backwards to help us and is not paying for the cost of the redo of the new ballot. In other words, it's not billing, I should say so. We do have a question of whether this might be covered under our errors and omissions policy. And I think that is being looked at. I have not reviewed the policy. I imagine it's with the county executive's office, but there may be some recourse through CPAC and other insurances that may cover an error and omission such as this.
Thank you, Mr. Tallarico. I appreciate it.
And thank you from me as well. That was my understanding as well regarding the errors and omissions insurance, that it is something that we are looking into to see if there might be coverage on that. Is there anyone else who has any questions, comments at this time?
Madam Chairwoman,
Chairman, this is Charlie Bale.
Yes, Mr. Bale, thank you.
Yep, I just have a question. So we got an email and it had the lineup of candidates from the Department of State initially, correct?
You received a printout of the original one.
right?
Oh,
Now-
you mean the elections office, excuse me.
The elections office. Now, is that a certified? I don't know how is the process? How do we confirm that with Department of State? Do we send an email reply? Hey, we got the list from you.
I'm
I
going
don't know
to,
how that process works. Maybe can Tanya or somebody explain that to me?
Yeah, hi, Charlie.
Yep.
So after the Department of State conducts the ballot lottery, they send us, well, I'm sorry, let me go back. During the petition filing period, at the end of that, they'll send us a list of candidates who have submitted nomination petitions. And then
Right.
they send us a first list. After that, they have a post ballot lottery when they decide where your name will appear on the ballot. Then they
Right.
send us another list. We had one candidate, John Diamond, was added to the list after that post ballot lottery. The state sent us a list with him listed as the first candidate. So that's what we used. Apparently that changed at some point and they put him at the bottom of the list. They sent us another list and it was an oversight. We didn't realize that they had changed the position of that contest.
Yeah, what I'm asking is there any confirmation process? Does the Department of State acknowledge, hey, we sent this out to Erie County. Erie County has acknowledged that they have the correct, format, the correct lineup of candidates. Is this a failure in process, possibly, on the state's part where, what happens? They just send it out and there's no reply? Do we reply to it?
No, we don't actually reply to it. We just use the list that they send us to build our ballot.
Okay, so it's possible they could send them, they could send that 3 or 4 times, and there's no way during that process for you to know that this is the certified final product.
So at the end, they'll send us an official list. Yes, which is what we went off of, but there was an oversight in the office that wasn't caught. So normally,
Okay, so
I'm sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Charlie.
No, that's what I'm asking. So when this one that we're going off of right now, is there some sort of process where there's a confirmation between the county and the state that, yes, we've received the list. Yes, this is the final list. Yes, this is the one that we're going to use. That's my question, I guess.
I can
A
jump in.
dialogue between
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
a dialogue between the state and the county so that we know that the process is accurate and correct and something certifies that process. Is there anything in place to do that?
Councilman Bale, this is Julie Slomsky, and yes, I've had conversations with Deputy Secretary Jonathan Marks at the Department of State. What this simply comes down to is from the day one when I came into this position, Tanya had asked that I be added to emails in terms of correspondence with the state. Unfortunately, I did not receive that email. That was sent, of course, to the office, but it was not looked at as something that was an update. So I already spoke to the Department of State and did ask them when they send these things in the future, we need to make sure it says revision or update, something like that, so we know that it is actually the final product. But we've had many conversations, and the Department of State has been very helpful in this process. All parties have been helpful to move forward from Dominion to the Department of State, but we have confirmed with them this is the final list. Everything is correct at this point, and going forward, there's a new process in place for these emails to be received.
Okay, I guess, and that answers it at the end. That's my thing is, have we learned from this that there has to be some checks and balances in place so that this doesn't occur again, so that the state is saying, we sent it, the county is acknowledging it, and the state is saying, okay, Erie is checked off, that they've acknowledged the final official and get some sort of response, so that if there are updates in the future, that process works to the end to where this doesn't occur.
Absolutely, yes, sir. And we've had that conversation and we've been on the phone with them and emails since the start of the situation, since we were notified. So they've been working very closely with us to make sure that it is cleared up going forward, that the procedure has changed, most importantly, that we're on the same page. But thank you for asking that.
And I do want to jump in here and assure everyone who is on this call or attending in person that the Department of State, Dominion, and representatives across the county have been working very diligently on this. The Department of State has been wonderful to work with, and it's been an intensive process. We were working on and off through the weekend, as a matter of fact, to make sure we had everything in order. So there is certainly a concern that we get it right. I do agree that it has been a perfect storm with the redistricting. There's shortened time for petitions, and the process itself has been rushed. And I think that the fact that we weren't the only county to have this happen, although we have gotten to this point, and you know, I think we're alone in that, but we weren't the only county to have this happen. So I do think that everyone is aware of the need to have checks and double checks. And I think we are in full agreement that that we will be going through this process very carefully in the future as well. So I thank you for your comments, Mr. Bale.
Madam Chairwoman, Mr. Hayes,
Thank
your
you.
one question.
Yeah, I just had one question. So basically, obviously, we have oversight. You're getting the emails now as well, but there's still, to this day, there's no way to certify the file.
Absolutely, there
So
is.
there is.
We, you know, to certify in terms of the ballot itself.
In other words, Harrisburg knows they sent it. We know that we respond back, just like Mr. Bale was saying.
Mhm.
There is no way to certify that last week.
There isn't, because the actual, you know, listing of the candidates such as yourself is listed in correct order. It has been reviewed, it has been approved, and then in turn, working with Dominion, we have been able to produce this, you know, sample ballot of which we're able
So
to have
working with Dominion acts as your certification.
with the Department of State and Dominion, but it goes through a process of review internally here in our office. And then, of course, with each council member in their particular district to make sure these ballots are correct. So we have sent out all the sample ballots to all the council members, Board of Election members, I should say, to make sure that they are reviewing them as well. So we're all on the same page. We have many sets of eyes reviewing this.
And this is all done prior to printing, which unfortunately.
Prior to printing, yes, and then of course, prior to our logic and accuracy testing that will occur this week as well, sir. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Mr. Aliota has a question as well, Madam Chairwoman.
Yeah, I have, thank you. Lou Aliota from Mill Creek Township. As familiar as I am with litigation issues, whenever there is some type of validation or verification that needs to be processed, number one, there should be a written protocol criteria as to the verification validation process. And in all municipalities, whether it's a school district, sewer authority, it has to be reviewed and signed off by the solicitor of that entity, that public
Mr.
entity.
Aliota, if I may just interrupt, you know, I appreciate that you may have questions and the general public may have questions, but the time on the agenda has already passed for input from the public. I am willing to listen to you if you would like to make an appointment, but at this time, the input and questions are from board members only. So respectfully, I ask that any questions and comments be confined to members of the Board of Elections.
Ms. Rainey, are you stating that you are not accepting comments from the public before the vote of council?
Madam
Without
Chair,
public?
Yes, Mr. Talarico, thank you.
yes, Mr. Sir, the hearing for the public, as you well know, because you've appeared in front of the board and mostly county council on numerous occasions, is that the hearing of the public takes place at the beginning of the meeting. There is no interplay between the board and the public during the course of the meeting.
Thank you. That's my understanding as well. And I would like to move on. Is there any member of the Board of Elections who has questions or comments at this time?
Parliamentary procedure.
Sorry, I was reading her stuff.
You violated parliamentary procedure, period. And I will put that in writing. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could go back and address Councilman Shank's concern. One thing, as you mentioned, in regards to the cost and what have you, we're reviewing, we still have a possibility with the funding that was available, approved by council for the election night reporting. We have a cushion there around 19,000 that we might be able to use if need be, that we're to make those unrestricted funds. And we also have some other funds there. So we're reviewing that as well to see where we're at. But again, making sure we double check everything first to make sure we're really, eliminating any additional costs, from every aspect. Okay.
Right. What I'd like to do, I would like to move forward with the repeal of resolution number 4 and the certification. And then if that seems acceptable, Mr. Talarico, then we'll move into the discussion of the cost and the printing.
Well, it is time for the vote, but as far as the cost is concerned, I'm not sure, is that on the agenda? I mean, the cost is irrelevant because we have to conform one way or the other. Now, whether we recover it or whether it's insured is for another day, because we don't have the answers to that.
Right. Well, we are working with Dominion and the Department of State to try to reduce the impact. And so we do have some options to discuss there.
That's true, except that the state is sovereign and they really don't have any obligation. So now if they want to, out of their kindness, reduce the cost, that would be wonderful. But there's no reason to have a discussion of that because they're foolproof. They're completely protected. As far as Dominion is concerned, I spoke with the upper people there, and they feel that they have redone the ballot for free without any cost to the county. They have arranged and are arranging to obtain a printer in-house that might save us a few $1,000s, but nothing big. So I really can't think of any other recourse for money, except to look at the insurance policy, and I haven't done that. So it would be premature to discuss how we're going to accomplish this. But the bottom line is, there's no question that we have to do it. And that's because you can't to try to slice off a part of the ballot would mean 2 different ballots. And so you can't have 2 ballots going out at the same time, even though one is just a part of the original ballot. And that's because each ballot is unique unto itself. So if you create 2 different ballots, there's a risk that the scanner won't accept the ballot and spit it back out.
Right.
So we don't really have a choice except to prepare a brand new ballot, which includes the the error that was made. That's why that's why we're not amending the original ballot. We're throwing it out. And and today's vote is on a new ballot.
Understood. With that being said, however, we do have an option for considering going with a different printer for the reprint of the election ballots.
Well, I mean, I'm not aware of any issue like that that's on the agenda. If the board wants to vote on obtaining a new, printer, does it have enough information at this point in time to decide that?
Mhm. Yeah, we have received a quote, and I would like to invite, I guess, either Ms. Slomsky or Ms. Fernandez to talk about the work that we've done with Dominion to try to offset the costs to the taxpayers locally. And I will say, that we did have everything printed by Gores Haynes initially, so that the work with them had been done already. So could I invite you to say a few words?
Thank you, Chairwoman. And just to clarify what you had mentioned, Attorney Talarico, that again, it's not Dominion printing in-house, it's Dominion working with one of coordinating, I guess, connecting us with one of their vendors that they've worked with in the past. One thing Dominion is doing is, again, they're going to be eliminating the fee of $3,850 for programming. That will be taken, kind of off the table, so to speak. So we have a discount there. They have provided us with a connection to Fort Orange Printing, and Fort Orange Printing has reached out and said they are able to print our precinct ballots. Those are our election day ballots, of which we will need 103,750. They are able to print those for us at 15 cents per ballot. And again, those are just be for election day. We would continue moving forward with Haynes Printing, who of course is our Haynes/Gores Printing to print the mail-in ballots, of which they have previously printed, and we will now do a reprint of those. And there are 29,985 ballots there at the cost of $1.27 per ballot. So we would, look to move forward with Gores Haynes to print the actual mail-in ballots and handle that process. As I mentioned, postage is not included, but that is the original estimate they provided to us back from March 1st of this year. And due to their, again, their production schedule and what have you, we thought it might be best to work with the suggestion of Dominions, to work with Fort Orange, to have that, again, the precinct ballots, all 103,750, shipped to us. Even with shipping, the total cost would be $19,662.50 compared to $38,387.50.
Right, and I just want to jump in here, and the concern of everyone, of course, is for the integrity of the election, the integrity of the ballot, and that we've worked very hard to make that correction and to make sure that the integrity of the election process is secure. After that, there is the concern for our duty to the taxpayers. This is almost a $20,000 difference, and it is something that we do have the ability to recover. And I would suggest to the rest of the Board of Elections that this would make sense for us to go with the reprinting of the election day ballots with Fort Orange to have that savings. And it's not taking anything away from our local printer. As I said, they have done a full printing, and they will be doing the printing of the mail ballots, the second printing of the mail ballots as well.
simple.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Talarico.
do we not want to take a vote on the first on the ballot?
Yes, we can do that. All right, let's move to the ballot itself. If no one has any additional, well, let's do this. I will entertain a motion to repeal the resolution number 4 of 2022 and the certification of the new ballot for the 2022 general primary election.
So moved, Ellen.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilwoman Showerman, a second by Councilman Schenk. Is there any other discussion or comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, I call for a roll call vote on the resolution.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Scatella,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mr. Winarski, Mr. Winarski. Did we lose him, Megan?
I don't have control of the board. I don't see him on here.
Mr. Winarski, Mr. Winarski, if you could please- I'm so sorry. Mr. Winarski, if you could please unmute.
Mr. Winarski?
Julie, I believe you could proceed with the vote. I think that there'll be a quorum anyway that votes for it.
Okay. Mr. Bale
Yes.
and Chairwoman Rennie?
Yes,
You want to mute? Do you want to vote yes on changing the resolution? Yes. for Mr. Wizarski.
Okay, thank you. Yes, for Councilwoman Winarski. Thank you, Mr. Shank.
It's complicated world, sir, right now. I just want to make sure your vote was counted. You're welcome, sir. Yeah, I'll put you on speakerphone. Okay, I've got Mr. Winarski on the landline via speakerphone.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. All right, we have the resolution repealed and the new certification has taken place. I would like to again bring forward the possibility of a motion to have Fort Orange print the election day ballots. This is something that we've been working very hard on over the weekend. It would save the taxpayers on the order of $20,000. Gores Haynes is not out anything. In fact, if anything, they've made more money on this process by having the mail ballots reprinted. But this is a way to save money for the taxpayers. So I would strongly suggest that we consider going with Fort Orange for the reprint of the election day ballots. Is there any discussion from the board? Ms. Showerman, I see your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Mr. Talarico how this works. Did we not have a contract with them? That they would be doing all of our printing? Is that a breach of contract to switch in the middle?
Actually, a contract was never, well, there was nothing entered into more than an invoice for services rendered, which they will be paid for in full. As far as the mistake goes, that's unanticipated. There will not be a breach of contract for that because we never hired him for that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, comments, questions from members of the board? Since this is not on the agenda, I believe that we would need we would need a majority plus one, am I right? To consider adding Fort Orange as a provider. Now, can I have a motion to consider Fort Orange for the reprint of the ballots? This is of the election day ballots only.
Mrs. Rennie, Chairwoman.
yes.
Yes, this is Ellen again. I know you worked with this over the weekend, but some of us were not involved in that. They are a reputable place that Dominion works with, and I guess I feel like I'm voting on something that I don't have a whole lot of background.
Just to make it known, this was something that was offered that they would do it for us at cost, I believe. So it's a generous offer. It would save the taxpayers a fair amount of money. I understand the hesitance, but they are a reputable company. In fact, they have much more experience than Gores Haynes does.
With Dominion.
Printing as a printer for ballots.
That work with the Dominion machines?
Yes.
In this case, yes.
Okay.
Once again, I would. Sorry. Yes.
Someone's feeding back.
That's Myers. No, that's Myers.
Okay. Is there a motion to consider Fort Orange for the reprint? Okay, I'm seeing and hearing none. Very well. It's my understanding then that we will have to continue with our local provider, Gores Haynes. Do we know for a fact that they can do this?
I will be talking to David Shanowski after this. He did say, he indicated he was ready to go. I know Mr. Jeff Haynes had some concerns based on an email this weekend that he would not be ready to go. But Mr. David Shanowski felt they would, and I advised that we will circle back immediately after this meeting. So if we find out they are not able to accommodate us, we will definitely circle back with the board.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the other question is, was Gores approached and were they asked to provide the same discount as Fort Orange? Actually, it's Dominion that's eating the cost by getting Fort Orange. That's what they're doing. That they work with quite a few people and they've got them to do it at cost. But in all fairness to Gores, they should be asked whether they are prepared to make a discount. We, council argued about them before based on a unintentional misrepresentation, and council went to bat for them. They should be able to go to bat for so.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom, I thought you were done.
Well, I mean, I just think that should be looked at first, and if not, and council will have no choice but to go with one printer or the other very, very quickly, very soon, because the ballot has to be printed. So
Yes,
perhaps
Mr.
they should be approached today.
Okay, Mr. Shank?
Yes, ma'am. I believe Dave is on the line. I think it's Dave 2022. Dave, are you on the line? You're muted if you are. It shows up on our screen.
Hello,
What's up there?
There he is.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I will speak to Jeffrey and see what we can do. Obviously, we're pushed into overtime situations now due to the lateness. I mean, we're 21 days away from election. So I will find out what that cost can be, and I will circle back to Julie as soon as possible today.
Okay, so we will have an answer today on that.
Yes.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments from the board?
Jim, did you have any comments?
I have no comments.
Okay.
All right, if seeing none, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
This meeting of the Board of Elections is hereby adjourned.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Jim.
I just went.